famous. Yeah, I gotta keep it trendy on my soul. I'm the most selfish person that I know. Here we go, down the rabbit hole. Got a couple carrots around my neck.
And we are live. Welcome back to Mezcla Moguls. It's your boy, the one with the Scarface, your boy Scarface. And I want to thank you guys again, always tuning in every week. Shout out to everybody who keeps supporting the podcast. Wherever you're listening to it, please give us a thumbs up. Please give us a 5-star, wherever you can. Do something to help us out. Like, it helps the podcast get to people who haven't seen it yet. And I know it helps a lot of people too, so that's why I always try to get people to like it, leave a review and things like that. But shout out to everyone who keeps that does it every week. If you're watching it on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, share it. If you guys want to watch it, YouTube and Spotify are the video platforms that we do post them on. But anywhere else, obviously, like you can listen to the audio version anywhere else as well. So shout out to everybody who keeps supporting. And if you want to keep supporting, link is in the bio to get some of these pins. You know, I'm always rocking some pins and things like that. I'm always rocking pins on my fitted. Shout out to everyone who keeps buying the merch, the Stepdaddy in Training, the Pullout Champs. I'm going to make some sweaters here in a little bit too as well. That way you guys can purchase them as sweaters because I know it's getting a little chilly now. So, shout out to all you guys. I truly do appreciate it. Every week, you guys always support, especially if you guys come over from the TikTok. I post all the clips over there. So thank you guys. Thank you. So, I want to get into this episode, but first I want to say that I might take a little bit of a break until I figure out where my studio is going to be next. Just because I'm actually leaving this current studio that I'm in now. I don't know if you guys seen the TikToks and stuff like that. Not of me talking about me leaving, but just like I painted over the graffiti that I had in the background and stuff like that. Like I'm going to take down this set after this podcast because I'm going to record an episode next week, but it'll probably just be like me alone in here without like a set or anything like that. Maybe just one light or something like that. And it's mainly because, you realize what you do and don't need. Shout out to the mentors and the coaches and stuff like that I do have that showed me that where I'm messing up, and meaning like I'll just be straight up honest. Like all I do in this studio, like all my content that I record for clients, I go somewhere else. I go to their office, I go to their studio, I go to their places to do all the work. We rarely come here. Of course I take studio headshots here and stuff like that, but there's this other thing that you can buy where you can make, or you can basically be a portable headshot person. So I think I'm going to purchase that. But they just made me see that all I do is record my podcast here, the TikToks, and edit. So if that's all I'm going to do, they basically told me to get a smaller location, and then, because all I'm doing here is that. And so that's why you see, like, right now I'm packing up all the stuff just because I do have quite a bit of stuff in here. I've been like giving some stuff away too as well because I don't want to take it with me. So that's why you'll see that. I'm not trying to hide it or anything. I'm just studio change. So you'll see, maybe if you guys see a different backdrop or something like that, I'm going to keep it. Obviously, the content is not going to change. You guys love the content. You guys keep supporting the content. Shout out to Karina. I asked her a bunch of questions. Stay tuned for that one. Maybe next time. I didn't know if she wanted to do a podcast, or else I would have took the podcast mics and did something along those lines. But all I had was like my lapels and stuff like that. But we did basically what I did for Jackie. I asked her a bunch of these questions. I'm going to first release them in a bunch of questions on their own on TikTok. So go follow me on TikTok. And then eventually I'll post the whole thing. That way you can just sit here and listen through it. So, but again, that's why you'll see like changes. Like when I record some more TikToks, you're going to see the background's going to look a little different. That's why. So hopefully, you guys don't think that, I don't know, that I'm going to stop doing this. Absolutely not. We're grinding, we're hustling. We're just making some smarter business decisions. And especially because all these books and podcasts and stuff that I listen to, you got to make smart decisions and know when you're spending money on things that you shouldn't be spending money on, and just be smarter. At the end of the day, just be smarter. So, but today's episode I actually wanted to get into is because something that's been popular lately on my TikTok. If you guys haven't followed me on TikTok, I suggest you go follow me. Is why people keep returning to toxic relationships, and again, everybody's definition of toxic relationship is a little bit different. Nobody's is the same, but I feel like a lot of people do. They're like, oh, why did he go back with his baby mama? Oh, why did she go back with his baby daddy and stuff like that? So I felt like maybe let's do a podcast episode and let's talk about it, because there was a girl that was pretty toxic. I just didn't. She was always angry. You know what I mean? Like, she was always angry. I've been through my fair share of toxic people, but I gotten to the point where I will not go back to anybody. Meaning, like, if it didn't work out, it's not going to work out. So am I going to try to make it work it out? Like, if you guys want to make it happen, then go for it. Am I going to try to make something work out that I feel like will not work out? Because if it didn't, like I said, if it didn't work out the first time, what makes you think it's going to work out the second time, the third time, the fourth time? And some of you guys be trying over and over and over, because again, I was there too. I did it too. And I realized it doesn't work. And I've seen it around. Doesn't work with a lot of people either. Yes, of course, every now and then it might turn out for the better, but for the most part, I've seen not turn out for the better. Okay, let's be honest. All right, so the first one that we have here is emotional attachment. Emotional bonds can be strong, making it difficult to severe ties with someone, even if they are toxic. And this happens a lot too when you've been with somebody for a longer period of time. You know, you get comfortable with this person. You don't want to leave this person. There's those emotional attachments to this person. So the fear, there's that fear of leaving, the fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're making the right decision, but you don't know, you feel like the right decision is to stay and try to make it work out, and feel like the other person is going to change, or you're going to change if you're the toxic one. I mean, at the end of the day, like, if one's toxic, the other one starts acting toxic too. So, I mean, you have to realize that it's really hard because we become blind to a lot of things when things are happening. Because I mean, you'll talk about it now when someone's went through some trauma. They're like, I can't believe. Now looking back, they'll be like, I can't believe I let myself go through something like that. But when it's happening, it's a little bit different. We just need to realize when things are not working out, when shit is not working out. That way we can make the changes, take the steps in order to make a change, get out of this relationship, leave this person, get the authorities involved, because some people become super toxic to the point where, they're causing damage, harm to you, harm to themselves, harm to other people. So, you really need to realize that and know when you don't want to leave because you're emotionally attached to this person as well too. I know a lot of people feel like things are going to go back to how they used to be in the beginning when everything was great, the whole puppy love honeymoon phase. Trust me, it's not going to go back to that. It will never go back to that. It might come close. You might get to some sort of point where you're like, oh, I really, he's acting like he used to before. But how he was in the beginning, how she was in the beginning, that's probably not going to happen again. I'll be straight up honest. Just because this is why everybody puts on that front in the beginning. And it sucks because then people get used to that. And then when you're not going to get that anymore, now it's a problem, So that's why I always just be aware of those things. Know when it's an emotional attachment type of thing. If you're asking yourself, if your gut feeling, if you're questioning yourself, like, should I leave? That's your gut feeling telling you, hey, yo, I think you should leave, because no gut feeling is going to say, like, do you say that, hey, like when you're extremely happy, oh, I'm extremely happy. Is this right? And things like that. So, if your gut feeling is telling you that this relationship is not going to work out, it's not, even if they say they're going to change, because trust me, I've been there too, where I'm going to change and it never change. Come on. Number 2, the fear of change. Change can be scary, and that people may return to the familiar, even if it's harmful to avoid the unknown. And why? Because it's the fear of the unknown. And this goes like when people want to take like a risk in their career, a risk elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's that fear to jump, and because you don't know what's going to happen. What if you leave this person and like you feel like everything's just going to fall apart, and like you don't know where you're going to go, what's going to happen, like this and that. So people are afraid of that change, so they'll stick around, even though like they hate the relationship, it's horrible, it's not working out, and this, that, and the third. But instead of just leaving, they just sit there and basically take it, which is the wrong thing you should do. And again, I've been in that situation too, where I just thought that things were going to change. I was going to change. She was going to change, but it never happened, you know? And you come to realize, and now looking back, that's why I mentioned that in the beginning. Would I do that shit again? Hell no. Hell no. Because you realize what works and what doesn't work. Okay. And like what things you will not let happen again. And there's a bunch of things that I will not let happen again. You know, I have my boundaries, the red flags that, that I won't tolerate. I try my hardest not to be blind to, because trust me, like we become blind to them in the beginning. So if you're afraid of what's going to, like, how much more time are you going to waste with this person? You're afraid of leaving because you don't know what's going to happen, but just know you're wasting a valuable time with this person that is not working out. And this is time that you're not going to get back, you know? Because again, I say it all the time, we can't purchase time. We can purchase material. Like if you're afraid that you're going to lose all your material stuff, you can buy it again. Yeah, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get everything back again, get on your feet. But the time, where are you going to find that? You're not going to find it anywhere. And you're not going to get it back. So just think about that. Manipulation and guilt. Toxic individuals often manipulate and guilt trip to draw someone back into the relationship. Now, I know this is a lot of y'all. And, you know, it's always like, especially the narcissist, the people who are narcissists, and they make it seem like it was your fault that they did something. It's your fault that this happened, that happened. And so they'll guilt trip you. Or even if you have kids, like if the guy cheats, the girl cheats, they'll be like, what about the kids? You're trying to separate a happy home. Bitch, you messed it up when you went and hooked up with somebody else, okay? And bitch, I'm not saying just a girl. I'm saying guy or girl, like whoever cheated, okay? So they'll guilt trip you, be like, oh, you're gonna separate the kids. Think about the kids. Think about this. Think about that. And then they'll make it seem like, oh, it's because you haven't been giving me attention, yada yada yada. Like, and then they make you feel like it's your fault. They guilt trip you, and then guess what? Now you come back, but it's the same thing. And then when you get to the point of leaving again, or something else happens, then guess what? They already know how to get you back. So they're just going to redo the same thing. That's why like some people will like cheat. Girl forgives them. A few months pass by, they cheat again, get caught. The girl forgives them. You know, it's just a constant cycle because he already knows how to convince you to forgive him, you know? So it just, you know, there's no official way to do anything. That's why I always say like everybody's situation is a little bit different. It's just different. When people ask me these questions, it's not like I can give you the play-by-play how to do everything. It's just everybody reacts to things differently. Everybody gets over things differently. And everybody realizes that they're in a shitty situation at different points in their life. Like something has to happen, you know? And so you just have to realize when, and especially like if they keep, you have to realize when it's that cycle. Like something bad is happening, they forget you, they make you forgive them. They make it seem like it's your fault. And then everything's great for like a week, 2 weeks. We've all been there. And then it's right back to the same thing. And then guess what? It's just one constant cycle, you know? And do you really want to be in that type of relationship? But it's just a constant cycle over and over and over. Like there's more downs than there is ups. Like it should be more ups than there is downs. Of course, it's never just up all the time. Like it's, you know, goes up and down, but it should be for the most part up a lot. You know, and if you're going through a lot of downs, then think about your situation, you know, because again, don't let them guilt trip you, because a lot of guys they'll use kids. They'll use the kids, family, this, that. They'll make it seem like the only option is to stay, you know. But then like they just do the same thing and then they guilt trip you again, because a lot of people, like a lot of these, it's not just one. It could be a lot of these things that somebody goes through to the point where they're just like, it makes them stay every time, you know? And I remember I had a one-on-one with a girl. She was in a horrible relationship. She just didn't know how to get out because she had nothing. She was a stay-at-home mom. She had nothing, like no family close by. They had kids. And I basically told her, like, you have to figure out, like, I can't do anything for you. There's places that you can go to get some help. There's family, friends you can call. Yeah, they don't live in the same state, but you can make steps happen. Like say, well, hopefully you have a great relationship with some family members and be like, yo, this is what's happening. Don't be embarrassed to tell them what's happening. Is there any way I can come and stay with you for a few weeks, few months, help me get on my feet, and then, I'll do my own thing. People are too prideful to have and too ashamed to have those conversations when there's people that will help them out there, and then I followed up with it because this was like one of the first one-on-ones. I followed up with her and she gave the guy another chance. It didn't work out. And then that's when she obviously made the steps in order to make it happen. And she ended up moving out of state. It was a whole like back and forth because of the kids and whatnot and things like that. But it's not going to be easy. I never once said it was going to be easy. Because again, like you could threaten to leave and then the kid, like the baby daddy, the baby mama freaks out on you, goes crazy. You don't know how they're going to react. That's why like whenever I'm going to do something, I make sure I have a plan. There's a plan A, plan B, and there's a plan C. Because if plan A goes to shit, there's a plan B. If plan B goes to shit, hopefully plan C works out. So it's just, you have to realize that like some people do guilt trip you. Like think about it. Has this person said, oh, you can't leave because of the kids. Oh, you can't leave because of that. Oh, we're meant to be together. You're going to ruin this. You're going to separate. You're going to divorce me. Like, imagine what people are going to think. Who cares what people are going to think? They're not living your life, okay? You're the one in that, and they're probably like, damn, why don't you get out? And you're too worried about like, damn, they're going to think something if we separate. They're going to think something like if I come out and talk. No, like at the end of the day, like you need to stop worrying about what people think, and that's something that I do very well now. And it wasn't easy. I'm not saying like it's easy to like be able to feel that, you know what I mean? It's because it's more of a feeling like, because before you wanted to please everybody, you want to do stuff because you want to portray this, and now I just don't give a fuck. Meaning like I don't care what you think about me. If you think I'm great, cool. If you think I'm bad, cool. If you think I'm cringy, cool. Whatever you think, cool. That's fine. That's your opinion. I know who I am and I know what I'm about. But that's not easy for everybody. Some people don't want to separate because, again, is that they're ashamed, embarrassed, and then even the guy makes them feel ashamed and embarrassed. And that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't care what these people think because, again, they're not living your life. Okay. All right. So low self-esteem, a lack of self-confidence can lead people to believe that they deserve the mistreatment they receive. And I'm glad this one came up because a while back ago when I was doing like a little bit different podcast episodes, ever since the TikTok blew up, I started doing TikTok like podcast episodes about like what we talk about on the TikToks, right? But even when I was doing it, the other version, I talked to, Cassandra, shout out to Cassandra. She got out of that relationship. And it was like, she was with a narcissist and he would just beat her. She showed videos, photos, and him yelling, blaming her, saying that it was her fault, that this happened, that happened. And during that time, she admitted she had low self-esteem. She felt like if she would behave and be better, that he would change, treat her right. And no, there's nothing, when somebody is like that, there's nothing that you can do or say that's going to change how they are. That when they're at that point, they need help. Meaning like they need to go talk to a therapist, counselor. Excuse me. They need to go talk to somebody because it's something internal with them that's messing them up to the point where they're, it comes out like they treat you like that because that's them kind of like showing how they feel, That's why you have to realize that if they're like that, there's nothing you can do or say, like, especially the people, oh, I can't post on social media because he gets mad. There's people who stop posting, stop dressing certain ways, stop doing certain things because they think that person is going to, like that and feel better about that. But then it's a constant cycle. If it's not, you stop posting, Then it's gonna be a problem the way you dress. Then it's gonna be a problem that somebody looked at you when you guys went out. Then it's gonna continue. There's nothing that you can do or say that's gonna change that person. They have to go and get some help to help them change and fix whatever inside of them is making them feel like that, making them treat you like that. So if you need to think about it, like because again, the only I'm glad like only myself can make myself happy. I shouldn't be reliant on somebody else to make them happy. You know, like if you have low self-esteem and you think you behaving and doing all this stuff is going to make that person happy, no. Like they have to figure out what's wrong with them, what's going on with them, and figure out what's going to make them happy. You know, because I hate it when that, yes, two people can enhance each other's happiness and make each other feel better and like enhance everything, right? But you can't go from, like, I'm not supposed to make the other person happy. Like, I'm supposed to there and like treat them great, like do whatever I can to enhance their whatever they got going on now, like happiness and everything like that. But I can't make them happy, you know. And Will Smith and Jada talk about it a lot, which is extremely true. A lot of people will try to make the other person happy, but it's them. They need to figure out how to make themselves happy. Like they talked about it in their books where Will was super happy because he was doing the acting, doing all this stuff. His career was blowing up. And him thinking that him doing all that stuff, making him happy, you know, did not make Jada happy. You know, and that's why like they would have problems because, you know, she obviously, other things made her happy, but she wasn't doing them anymore because she was trying to, you know, support him and do things for him. But they even talk about it. Like he even told her, he's like, it's not my job to make you happy. Like you need to make yourself happy. And so if you have low self-esteem or if you're dealing with somebody like that, you have to realize that you can't make that other person happy. The only person you should be trying to make happy is yourself, you know. That way, like, and especially if you have kids, would you rather see them grow up seeing you happy than, you know, low self-esteem, low confidence? Because guess what? That's the way they're going to be too. You know, they're going to grow up thinking that that's normal. That's how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be submissive. Like, you're supposed to feel like you're supposed to, like, you know, essentially, like, with low self-esteem. So think about it. Actually sit there and think about, like, any of these. Is this me? Like, is this the reason why I keep going back? Hope for change. People may return hoping that toxic person will change, even though change is often unlikely. And that's how I always say, like, people, they want to see the best in people. They want to, again, they want that, how they were when they were in the beginning, all great. Or at the time, they want that person back at that period of time when they were great. They were amazing. They were treating them like how, you know, they thought they should be treated, you know, like in the beginning, like a lot of people put on fronts in the beginning. They'll be like all amazing, treat that person like a queen, king. But then eventually that wears off, you know, you guys get comfortable and it's your guys' fault too. Like, don't let the other person get comfortable on you. Don't let them like, oh, like we used to do date nights, but it's cool now. Like she's cool. Like we just hang out and just watch a movie. No, continue. Be like, no, I need this. And then if they're really meant for you, and they really like you, they're going to try to keep that up and they're going to do it, you know? And then it sucked because I talked about it too before. Like that's something my ex wanted and we introduced it way too late. You know what I mean? Like we tried doing it, but it just didn't stick. And that's something that we should have kept doing from the beginning. You know, of course that relationship was all over the place, you know, maybe one day I'll go into detail about it, but I just don't really want to go into all the nitty and gritty about it. But we introduced date night too late. Like we got comfortable with each other and stuff like that. So that if you're hoping for a change, I would set some sort of like timelines with this person. Be like, yo, if you ain't changing by this time, I'm out. If you don't do this, I'm out. Because if they don't do it in that amount of time, what makes you think they're going to do it 3 years from now, 4 years from now? You know what I mean? Like, how much time are you going to waste? How long are you going to wait for this person to change? And then come to find out, guess what? A lot of people later on, they'll be like, oh, I should have left sooner because they never changed. this is why, like, you have to figure out like how long you have to set your boundaries, have to put timelines, have to put ultimatums, but you have to follow through with them, because if you don't, then the other person, like, say you put an ultimatum, now this person is like, oh well, she put this ultimatum, she's still here, so obviously she's not gonna go anywhere. So something like that. So again, like, you have to realize that you have to actually sit down, think about it. If this person doesn't change by this time, I'm out. But tell them, don't just be like, yo, the day comes and you're like, all right, I'm out. And they'll be like, what the fuck? uh, Tell them, be like, yo, this has been an issue. You know, if you're not changing this by this day, I will leave. I'm telling you right now, I will leave. And you have to follow through with it. You can't just be like, well, he kind of a little. No, if they didn't change for the better for you, no, out. You know, and I'm not telling you completely change a person, but, you know, again, we get comfortable, we get lazy with our partner, and then to the point where we're not putting in effort into the relationship anymore. And, you know, some people need that. And especially like it's depending on the love language, they need that type of like effort in the relationship, whether like whatever their love language is, you know? So again, how long are you going to wait for that change? Think about that. How long? Isolation. Toxic individuals may isolate their partners, making it harder to find support or escape. And this is true. I talked about this a little bit earlier. Like, especially if they're toxic, narcissistic, they're gonna do whatever they can to shut you off from the world. Meaning, like, you've seen it. There's people who have issues with their partner posting on social media because they think they don't like all the guys commenting, they don't like the girls commenting, and all of a sudden you become a shell of yourself, or where you have to make shared profiles. I'll never make a shared profile. Hell no. You have yours, I have mine. We don't need to share one. If you later on, like, say you do social media together and stuff like that, if you want to make a shared one, kind of like for the, I'm gonna have mine, you're gonna have yours, but this is like the boyfriend girlfriend, the husband wife one, you know, or something like that. But there's those guys who and girls who isolate their person, and then so imagine I'm like super outgoing. I'm out there, I'm fun, I'm goofy, like I know how to be serious when I need to be serious. So imagine if I get with somebody who doesn't like none of that. Oh, I don't like how you're goofy. Oh, okay, like, and then I would just stop being goofy, you know. But that's what, like, I like that and it makes me happy. Or I don't like that you do a podcast, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'll stop doing the podcast. I don't like that you post on Instagram. You know, it's all these people, this, and that, and like it's always a problem. And then you're like, all right, I won't post on Instagram. You see how like it may not be those exact things, but it's always something like that. Oh, like I don't like how guys are looking at you when we go out, so they make you cover up. I don't like that you post on, you have a social media because guys come and send you DMs. They're gonna do it regardless, you know. So it's always one thing after another, and so they'll try to isolate you to the point where like you don't know what to do. Even like I remember, you guys know Jackie, her ex didn't even want to let her go hang out with her mom. You know, it was a problem if she stayed too long like at dinner or going out to hang out with her mom. Like, it was a problem. You know, like, you need to realize that there's something wrong with them if they're getting mad over things like that. If you're giving them a reason, like if you've seen me like go out or something like that and I'm flirting with a bunch of girls, you'd be like, no, like, I don't want you to be doing that because every time you go, you're flirting. You know, like, if that's the case, okay, I get it. But just because that person's insecurities, and it could also be that they're doing some shady stuff when they go out, so they automatically assume that you're doing those same shady things. So think about that. All right. And then the last one that we have is codependency. Some individuals become dependent on the toxic relationship and find it hard to function without it. And I think this is like where that comes from, where they're like, why do people like toxic relationships and stuff like that? Maybe they find it exciting. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want to deal with something like that. I remember, like, I recently talked to, Karina and Daisy when we were out. I went to go film out there, and Karina was like, that some jealousy is cool, but I didn't agree with that. Like, I played, like, I'll act jealous, like, playing around. I'm not serious about it. I'm not like, no, like this and that. No, I'm not serious about it. But if they're jealous, I feel like that's just going to get worse over time. It's going to get worse over time, and then it's going to be a problem. Uh, and so this is why, like I always say, that people become blinded to red flags. They become, it's hard in the beginning because, especially if they're a good looking person, like you're like, dang, I really like this person. I'm really attracted to this person. You start letting a lot of things slide. Let's be honest. A lot of us done it before. Like we let things slide, like usually things that we wouldn't let slide. But I don't know. Maybe it's the chase, or it's the excitement of that, or just like the always up and down. Some people like that shit. Do I like it? Nah. I ain't trying to be stressed out. I ain't trying to be in like no type of relationship like that just because I'm in a good place mentally, and I don't want to, none of that. Like if somebody's going to give me shady vibes, I instantly check out. Like there was a girl that I talked to one time and she gave me shady vibes and I instantly cut her off, and she was like, wow, just like that. And I'm like, yeah, just like that. And some people wouldn't do that. Some people would be like, well, dang, like she's a good looking girl, like this and that. And then they would stick around to maybe it'll change over. No, like I got shady vibes and I dipped out, And I also talked about that on a TikTok. Is it bad for me to like see a red flag or something like that in the beginning and instantly check out and not even give the person the benefit of the doubt? So I don't feel like it's a bad thing. I feel like it's a good thing because some people would become blinded to it. They would feel like, oh, like maybe it might get better. She's a good looking, she's bad, So maybe she'll change. Nah, me, I was like, I don't give a fuck how bad you look. I'm out. Like you gave me shady vibes, I'm out. Like I'm not here. I'm not bringing any shady vibes to you, and I don't want to feel like that. If that makes sense. Have you ever been with somebody or talked to somebody and they gave you those shady vibes and just feeling like that? No, thank you. It's like one of those like feelings that you don't want to feel. Like you feel like this person is lying. They're out there being shady. Like, and you're putting in all this effort into this person. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, like I don't want to feel like that. And like you're making me feel like that. So again, like go through, like actually sit down and think about some of these things. Are you going through something similar? Let's be honest. Sometimes we have to be honest. We have to be vulnerable. We have to actually like be like, damn, I think that is me, and that's the good thing about doing these podcasts and the TikToks, because I'm learning a lot about myself, and especially because I sit here and I talk about things that I've never talked about, or before. I think I would be like too afraid to talk about some of these things, too ashamed, maybe too embarrassed. I don't know. Like, I don't know the exact feeling, but I just wouldn't talk to anybody about some of these things. But now I'm like an open book. People ask me, I talk about it, because hopefully it's helping me, and hopefully it helps whoever's listening. So, but we actually have to sit there and think about, like, you keep going back to somebody who is not good for you. Why? Like, is there a reason? Did one of these fit? But I think the most important thing is, like, how long are you gonna wait? Relationships are never 100% perfect. I know. I'm not looking for perfect, but I'm looking for someone who's going to want to invest their time into me so I can invest my time into them. And there's not going to be all this other like playing games, shady vibes, like all this other stuff. Like, I'm not here for that. I'm not here to be fighting over stupid shit. Like, why are you liking this? Why are you liking that? Like, again, maybe I've done that before in the past. Am I trying to do that now? No. Like I'm trying to grow, like, as a person, trying to grow in my career, a business, everything. And I don't want to be with somebody who's going to be holding me back too as well. So that's why I would definitely not be with someone who gives me toxic vibes, or is just, I feel like it's not good for me. So, I mean, let me know what you guys think. And if you guys have a podcast episode that you guys want me to talk about too, DM me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever the case may be. I usually go through there and see like which videos are doing well, like getting a lot of views, and I'm like, hey, we should do a full podcast episode of that, or something that's real common. Like I've been getting a lot of like toxic relationship questions. So I was like, let's do a toxic relationship, like why people keep going back, you know, because we did an episode on like why people keep going back to their ex, you know, which can be a little bit different, but like why do people keep going back to a toxic relationship, which there's some like differences and things like that. So anyways, thank you guys for listening. I always do appreciate it that you guys listen to me, sit here and chat with me, you know, and I try to keep these episodes anywhere from like 30 minutes to 40 minutes just because I want it to be nice, something you're driving to work, coming home from work, at lunch, at work. Hopefully it's going to motivate you. Hopefully it's going to open your eyes to something. That way you can start making better decisions because, you know, that's at the end of the day, like I love helping people and hopefully this helps you. So anyways, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys later.
Stay woke, please don't get caught slick. End up sowing what you reap. Know your worth and don't sell cheap. The ghost is inside of me.